All right. Here we are with the Susquehanna Floods. How you fellas doing?
Fantastic.
All right. Trevor,
Yes, sir.
the first thing I have to say is your jewelry is outstanding.
Thank you very much. I don't know what to say after that, but thank you. Try to put on a little flair.
You did the job, brother.
Thank you.
Trust me, I'm a fan of turquoise.
Me too. It looks good. Looks good.
It does. You make it look very, very nice.
Thank you, sir.
First question. How did the Susquehanna Floods form? And when?
So I decided to start a cover band, and I got bored of playing everyone else's music. And I've always been an artist, and I always need an outlet, whether it be painting, sculpting, making movies, whatever. And I decided to do music. It seemed to be the only thing that I could complete instead of having a bunch of incomplete projects.
I understand.
So the two guys that were in the band, the cover band, I was like, look, guys, I want to play original music. And they both agreed. So we looked for a drummer. We posted an ad on Craigslist, and that's how we found Eric.
All right, Eric.
And yeah, he came in, and he jammed with us. And he's like, all right, guys, I'll see you next Thursday. All right. And I was like, man, this guy must nail interviews.
Okay.
So, and we had 2 songs written. Muddy Water was actually one of the first songs I ever wrote.
Okay.
So I just went home and started writing.
Wait. That was the first song that you wrote?
Correct.
He dabbles.
Wow.
I will take that as a compliment.
That's an amazing song to come first out of the box.
Thank you very much.
Now, this is the thing. I mean, now we're off track now, but so what? Muddy Waters. Now, you are aware of the funk element that's in that song?
Oh yeah, I mean, the whole concept of that song is so Jim and I, not to bounce around, Jim and I used to be Blues Brother impersonators.
Really?
We did. He was Elwood, I was Jake, and we'd play at a bunch of VFWs and fire halls and dance around, and he got me into the blues. And we started listening to a bunch of blues records, and then like I have an obsessive personality, so I dove real deep into being Joliet Jake Blues, and just started listening to all this old blues music. And there was a blues bar near us called the Pickled Herring Pub, and all these old heads would play, and I just sit in the back and just like, watch them. Be like, man, these guys are cooler than the other side of the pillow.
Right.
And I happened to stumble upon Cadillac Records, the movie. And it was so compelling and so good, and just how we wouldn't have any of the music that we have now without the blues, without any of it, and that's why I wanted to call the song Muddy Waters, because, Muddy Waters is the king of the blues. He's one that, like, he started it and got it out there. First guy, plug in an electric guitar, and then Little Walter, first guy to amplify a harmonica, and then the Robert Johnson's Crossroads. They say that song's older than time itself. They say the devil himself wrote that song.
I know that's right.
So yeah, it was one of those things where I knew that I wanted to write original music, because I sat at a little tiny desk in my bedroom, and it just came out. I just wrote it down, got the groove for it, and that chorus, just muddy like the water, Georgia on my mind. I wanted to hit every single blues artist, and the reason why we have rock and roll today in America, and well, in the entire world. So
That's amazing. I mean, that song is outstanding. Now, let me ask you something. What do you consider the category of music that you guys perform? What would you actually call it?
So when we created the EP, we had to put a category on it, because it's hard not to. I mean, a lot of people get stuck in certain genres.
Agreed.
We try to make all of our stuff a little bit different, still, but like the Susquehanna Flood sound. I wouldn't tell anyone the influence of what my song is that I came in. Like, say, like with Muddy Water, I came in and I had it like a bedroom song, played it for the guys, and they add their element to the song, and that's what makes a Susquehanna Flood song. But we had to pick a category, and so I started looking through all the guys that influenced me, and kind of had that Western vibe, like the Eagles, CCR, the Allman Brothers, and they were all, and even like modern bands like Alabama Shakes, the Black Keys, they were all considered roots rock. And just like with Muddy Waters, I wanted, like, you got to have your roots. And those are so prominent, and that's what I was like, that's it, roots rock.
Awesome. When I first saw your photo, as a matter of fact, it was on Jam 24/7's website, I was thinking Blues Traveler, like right away. But the thing about it is, listening to you guys, your music is a lot less commercial. It has a commercial appeal, but it's like that. It's real, raw, but polished at the same time. You know what I mean? It would be the same thing as if you had like a quartz stone with jagged edges, very shiny, and you turn it into a ring. Can you dig that?
I can dig that. Again, we will take that as a compliment.
Oh, yeah, man.
I do have to say, though, the first time my dad saw Trevor play, it's funny that you said Blues Traveler, because my dad says, that guy looks like Blues Traveler. And I was like, with the whole band or just one of them?
I've heard that before. Well, I used to wear glasses and the black hat, and so I went with the white hat, so I wouldn't get that. I had a drunk guy in a bar when we were doing, actually starting the whole Susquehanna floods, and the guy was like, "Hey man, you look like Blues Traveler," and I was like, "Yeah, you mean like John Popper, right?" And he's like, "No, I mean Blues Traveler," and I was like, "Yeah, the lead singer is John Popper." He's like, "Yeah, you look like John Popper."
Okay.
Cool, man.
That's what's up.
But again, that's a huge compliment, because I mean, he's one of those guys that's just keeping it going. He dueled, I think it was Steve Vai on harmonica versus guitar.
Really?
Yeah, and he's just nailing it down. And
That's what's up.
yeah, that's exactly.
Now, are you the only one that writes the music?
So we are actually in the process of we have a little bit of a change in our lineup, and we are in the process of bringing in new music. What's out there right now is, it's like I said, it's those bedroom songs. Right. It's a weird thing to say. I bring in the skeleton, you know, and then we create it. You know, it's like the wire when you're doing clay, and we start slapping on the clay. Like I throw the clay onto the wire like figure, and then we all go in and we start sculpting it down. We start reducing it, adding when we need to add, taking away. But even the new song, like the songs that we have, when Jared joined the band, he was like, "Hey, you want a horn player to hop up?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." He started playing. I'm like, "Hey, you want to join the band?" He's like, I don't know. And then finally, I broke him down, and he joined the band. And what you saw tonight was he added his own composition, and it changed the song itself. Like the stops, the dynamics in the song, that a lot of those go to Jared. And then, but there's been such an evolution of the Susquehanna Floods in just a short time that we've been a band. You know, adding Chris Walters on lead guitar, I have to say, like, very Hendrix feeling guitar to it, and he's heavily influenced.
Let me tell you, man, Muddy Waters, I could have sworn I was listening to Carlos Santana. Yeah, man.
You know the best part?
That was right on the money.
The best part about that is that when Chris joined the band, he hadn't picked up an electric guitar in how many years was it?
It was probably close to maybe 7-8 years. Yeah, I'd only been playing acoustic shows for just the solo acoustic bar gigs. I played electric guitar forever, played jazz guitar for a long time, and yeah, I was always looking for that opportunity to join a band, and it never presented itself until just so happened, I guess by pure luck maybe. I don't know, Trevor came to one of my acoustic shows, and
It wasn't luck.
Maybe you,
I was scalping. I was.
but yeah, he asked me to join and he'd come out for rehearsal or something and practice, see how it goes. And it was pretty awesome to pick up the electric again. And it changes playing guitar, you know. I don't know if it's easier to play or there's so many more sounds you get to play with, but it's so much fun for me, you know, after, you know, 8, 9 years, 7, 8 years, whatever I just said, I forget already. It was so long that I don't know. And to pick it up again and play with these guys, I mean, it's been a truly fun experience for me.
Well, I mean, you are definitely a wonderful addition to the band, a component, if you will, you know?
Thank you.
One of the things I wanted to ask you about, Trevor, we kind of briefly discussed it. Give us the breakdown of Stormy Evening.
I think the beautiful thing about being able to create songs is to get those feelings that you have trapped inside. And a lot of people can't, it's hard for people to deal with things in life. I'm very fortunate enough that I have music to do that. I started the band, and my father was sick when I started the band, and I would come home every night, and I'd sit next to him. He was in a hospital bed, and I would talk to him and tell him about my night because he couldn't make it out. And it was a Thursday night. My guitar, not this guitar that I played tonight, but one that looks identical to it, the headstock snapped. And he was so worried because I had 2 gigs on Saturday. I said, I'll figure it out. Not a big deal. So I said goodnight to him. And my mom got up in the morning. She told him she loved him. And then he told her that he loved her and that he'd see her in the evening. And then my brother rolled out and, you know, real quick, run late to work. He's like, bye, Dad, I got to go. I was also running late to work, and I walked out, and I looked over, and I knew he was gone. And that whole whirlwind of just dealing with, you know, losing someone and being there just alone, you know, it was meant to be for me to be there. But when it happened, when they came, and there's like so much going on with first responders and ambulances and cops and just, it's all protocol, and you know, you're still like feeling like you're just this entity while everything else is just going on. And this big giant storm rolled in. So when they took him out, I mean, it was the skies had opened up. And then as soon as he left, not literally a minute later, cleared back up, being another hot July. You know, that was a Friday morning. And Saturday I played two shows after Jim's dad, who's a carpenter, not a luthier, fixed my guitar. Wow. And then we buried him on a Tuesday. When we pulled him out of the hearse, my dad was a veteran, so you know, seeing the flag on the coffin, and he always made this joke, the hero's funeral, always, you know, raining, bagpipes playing. And he's like, that's how I want to go. I'm like, it's a weird thing to talk about, but okay. Man, as soon as they pulled him out and I was the first pallbearer and I touched his coffin, the skies just rumbled and opened up again. And as soon as I was done speaking my piece, during the service, that storm was gone. And it took a little bit to sit on it. I had to take care of my mom, my brother, make sure that they were okay. Right. Dealing with grief was different for me because, you know, the denial and everything, I was there. I know all about that. And I think my coping was writing Stormy Eve. So the howling wind like a lover's mourn, that's hearing my mom, you know, when I had to call and tell her, like, you know, clouds like mountains fill the sky, like it just, yeah. Just, it's a beautiful thing to be able to relay that in a song. And the style of it is very much, he was a big CCR guy, you know, he loved all that roots rock and roll and the the classic country. So, yeah,
It's a great song, man, and you're an amazing writer.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I had no idea that you were the one that penned that song. It was a great song.
Again, though, it would not be what it is without these guys. You
Oh
know,
no, I understand that. Yes.
Without the power behind it, and Jim was there for all of that. He was he dropped everything.
So Jim, tell us about that day when Trevor had to bury his dad.
It honestly was a very powerful moment, and he's not, lying or embellishing any way when it comes to as soon as he touched the coffin, it poured. I mean, it was fitting, and it was actually just a heck of a storm. And that's honestly, that's one of the things I like with that song, because when we come in with that very just powerful hit right off the bat. And then it kind of backs away again, and then we come back in with it, and that just always stays with me, because just having that moment shared, especially with him, and it's great. I mean, that's why I think that's probably one of my favorite ones too.
I always, like, after we're done playing, I was like, man, I wanted to tell a story about my dad and the hero's funeral with it raining, but I never do. So I appreciate you giving me the outlet to talk about that.
Hey man, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
I also think that that song. I think everybody knows like how special that song is to Trevor as well. And I mean, I know for myself, every time we throw that song in the set, like I want to play it really well, because it means so much to Trevor, and it's a beautiful and sad story when he tells it. But just want to do right by Trevor. So and it's a great song. It's like one of my favorite songs.
And we were talking about during that song. There's that little breakdown. I asked Jared. I was like, "Look, some way, some shape or form, can you put a little Amazing Grace in there, just a little bit?" And like when it gets to that moment, we're playing like on a, we've been fortunate enough to play on some pretty big stages. I always feel like a cool breeze come in during that part. So
That's probably your dad touching you on the shoulder, man. Yeah, you guys remind me of like a band of brothers, you know what I mean? You guys have been through a lot together or whatever. So now, bass man.
Yes. What's up?
I like your style, man. I
Thank
mean,
you.
I don't know whether you're like a super rock bassist or like a moonshiner, you know what I mean?
Yeah, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
So how long have you been in the band?
I joined last September.
it hasn't been
Yeah,
that long.
but
So, two of the founding members, Zach Crouch and Brett Pearson. Brett was on bass and Zach was lead guitarist.
Right.
Just how life is, Brett went off and he's running sound. He's a sound engineer in Bristol, Pennsylvania at a theater company.
Okay.
He's like, I gotta go.
Right.
And I said, I respect that. Zach started his own business, so they got to, and that's the thing about, like you were saying with the band of brothers, and I make this analogy about being in a band. It's like operating a tank. Everyone's part is equally important.
No doubt.
So I had been seeing Eric Crow play bass in a band, the Psychedelic Puppets.
yep, yeah.
And he just reminds me of the dude.
Yeah, he does.
I get that a lot.
And I was like, you know what? I need someone who's super chill.
The Big Lebowski, yeah.
Yeah.
So I asked him. We actually recently did a little recording at Jam 24/7, and we were all complimenting Eric Crow, his bass playing right down the line. When you're playing out, you really don't get to hear. You're focused on your part, making sure that you're in that puzzle.
Right.
But yeah, and I'm glad he said yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
He's right in the pocket.
Well,
He is indeed.
Yeah.
The rhythm section of this band is all about being in the pocket, so it's. but no, I mean these guys make it easy, man. I mean, Trevor writes these great songs. Jared's got the great stops. Chris and Jim are adding that color. We got Eric Picard on the snares and
Captain Picard,
kicks.
eh?
Yeah, Captain Picard.
Make it so.
That's right.
But yeah, man. I mean, I played bass for about 12 years now, and it's become second nature to me. I play other instruments, but that's the one I have the most fun in.
We've been trying to get him to play the fiddle for a while because he does play the fiddle.
What's his first
Nobody's heard him
Yeah.
play yet.
Yeah. I started out playing fiddle when I was like 9.
Allegedly.
So, allegedly, yeah.
Where can everybody find your music?
Right now, pretty much like all of the streaming outlets right now. It's the first EP, so there's a good portion of the band at this point is actually not even on that recording. So, hopefully we'll be doing a recording really soon. But you can hear these songs that we played today in sort of a little bit of a different format on Spotify and iTunes and Napster and all that. Everybody laughs when I say Napster.
Listen, once again, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to come on this show. I believe that the people who are going to be watching, they're going to be so excited and fulfilled watching you guys do what you do. Thank you guys once again.
Thank you so much for having us.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Susquehanna Floods. Stay right there. Don't you go nowhere. Unsigned Soul will be right back. As always, we'd like to thank our sponsors. Suzanne Burgess of Suzanne Burgess Design, under the House of Burgess. La Vie Creates. They make your events magical. Just Love Images, your one-stop shop for all of your video and photography needs. Delaney's Soul Food Restaurant. It's good food, not fast food, and it's food made with love. And last but not least, Jam 24/7 Studios. The magic happens right here.
Hi, I'm Tom Watson, owner of Jam 24/7 Sound. We're a full-service audio-video facility. We offer support for working and aspiring musicians. We have a performance stage, rehearsal space. We offer audio-video recording facilities and services. We're conveniently located between Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington vicinity, off of I-95. We're open 24/7 by appointment. I can be reached via text or telephone at 302-367-4647, and I look forward to working with you.